Andrew Delaney of Arlington, Texas, is an unorthodox singer-songwriter and storyteller who steadfastly refuses to pretend he isn't writing this bio himself in the third person. He has released 9 full-length albums in the past 10 years and has won numerous accolades for his writing. This year he played the Grassy Hills Emerging Artist Showcase at the Falcon Ridge Folk Festival. In 2017, he won the Songwriter Serenade competition at Moravia, Texas, and was a finalist in the Rocky Mountain Song Contest in Lyons, Colorado. And he had his self-directed music video, Howard, featured as an official selection at the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival in Portland, Oregon. He is a 3-time Kerrville New Folk finalist who has gone on to play the main stage at the Kerrville Folk Festival. Andrew spends his downtime watching, collecting, and sometimes directing offbeat horror films. He also teaches songwriting at the University of Texas at Arlington, and this year he bought a new wardrobe of t-shirts. Please welcome to the stage my friend and personal hero, Andrew Delaney.
You like that intro? I won it in a raffle. If you're really stoned, that was a reference to about an hour ago.
Yeah.
If you're really stoned, my hands are knives. So, hi, I'm Andrew Delaney. I'm a mentally ill person. You can laugh at that or not. You can feel bad. It's true. I'm a bipolar type 2, which is the fun one. It's a bipolar type 1, so is typified by what they call mania, which has bouts of psychosis in it, which can be very scary and dangerous for both the person experiencing them and the people around them. Bipolar type 2 just has what they call hypomania, which is kind of lower key. It's just sort of like euphoria and lots of energy and creative, productive ideas, and really, it's the best feeling in the world. Like, it's like getting drugs for free. I mean, I wouldn't know. I don't want my mom to see this. But the other side of it, obviously, is depression, which is a major problem in my life. There are like stretches of 4 or 5 days or a week that I can't get out of bed, and it's not awesome. But during one of those periods, I was reading science articles on my phone because that's what I had the energy level to do. And I read about this plant. It's called a Judean date palm. And now this is going somewhere, I promise. But see, the Judean date palm was a very, very important plant in biblical times. Like when they laid palm leaves down at Jesus' feet, they would have been Judean date palm leaves. But about 800 years ago, that plant went completely extinct. And then about 60 years ago, they were excavating Herod's tomb in Israel, and he's another biblical character. And they found this sealed ceramic jar that carbon dated 2,000 years old, and then they cracked it open and they found seeds inside of it. And then they thought, oh, that's neat, and they put them in a drawer for 40 years. And then at the end of that, somebody found them again. It was like, hey, what happens if we plant these? And so they did. And all of them did nothing, but one of them grew into a Judean date palm, which is now still alive and living in Israel and is now no longer extinct. So I'm a songwriter, you know what happened there. Hello out there. It's been a long, long time, 2,000 years. One of a kind, and here to seize my moment in the sun to rise and shine. shine. Rise and shine. Well, I remember when Jesus was young, the carpenter's son. And then one day, the word come from the sky to rise and shine. Rise and shine. Stuck in stasis, lonely, dark places, perfectly patient and always waiting for you. Well, they put me here for some kind of reason that isn't clear. But I must believe that if you're looking for a sign, well, I'm plain as any you might find. That you can start again. Just drink the light in through your skin and rise. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Rich Warren is a wizard. I should probably explain that. See, I didn't know any of this folk scene existed until 2010. I got invited to be in the New Folk competition down in Pueblo. And I experienced that magical thing, and there was like, hey, there's this other thing with indoor plumbing. And so I was invited to SWRFA, and I got an official at SWRFA, and that was great. And I played roughly where I'm standing now. And it was really weird. The set was, I made some choices. Some real distinct choices. And afterwards, Rich Warren got on the microphone right there, and he compared me to this super famous legendary film director, and it like turned on its head everything I thought about what I was doing with my art, and I started trying to think about it in those terms, and I started using words like cinematic to describe what I was doing, and started delving into movies as an inspiration, and then years go by, and I was like, well, maybe I should actually make a movie, and then I did, and I got into a film festival with it. So all of a sudden, I'm a film director because Rich Warren said so. So Rich Warren is a wizard. And I really want to thank the SWRFA community. I came here and I didn't know what any of this was, and then I showed up and I was just embraced, and I have dozens of stories like that one about Rich because of people here who were wonderful to me, people in this room. And I can't thank you enough, just as a person who spent most of his adult life up until then pretty much alone. So thank you. This here is a song about, it's good to find your tribe, and this is a song about the first time that I found my tribe, which was among the goths and the theater kids in my small Texas town when I was a teenager. Oh, to be 17 again. cat piss house and a mean old man. Couple friends that understand, cause they grew up just the same. Connie, Chewy, Jack, and Beth. Well, she's in love with Meredith, who's been saying she'll kill herself since I can't remember when. While the whole damn world's a 4A football game. Well, we knew where we'd be when Friday came. Midnight at the Rocky Horror Picture Show, eyeliner and pantyhose, that's where I wanna go. Someday, I believe I'm gonna leave this town, cross that bridge and burn it down, but I ain't thinking about it now. Tonight it's me and my best girl in the old routine, and those fearless bastards shadowing the screen. Well, they punk me every day at school, call me faggot in the locker room, but hell, I'll get it worse at home if it's one of those bad days. So I just keep quiet and try to bide my time, singing science fiction in the back of my mind. Midnight at the Rocky Horror Picture Show, eyeliner and pantyhose, that's where I wanna go. Someday, I believe I'm gonna leave this town, cross that bridge and burn it down, but I ain't thinking about it now. Tonight it's me and my best guy in the old routine, and those fearless bastards shadowing the screen. Things changed back in '99 when we lost him. Chose our paths and off we went. Never did the time or again. At midnight at the Rocky Horror Picture Show, eyeliner and pantyhose, that's where I wanna go. Well, back then, before I up and left that town, crossed that bridge and burned it down, well, I'm thinking about it now, about me and my best friends in the old routine, and everything I was at 17. Midnight at the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I try to keep my songs short so I can talk more. It's whatever, man. I used to have an imaginary friend when I was a kid, which is pretty normal, I guess, though my situation was a bit different. Most kids, when they have an imaginary friend, it's like a kid their own age or maybe slightly older than them, or perhaps like a pet animal or a fairy tale creature. Whereas my imaginary friend was just like an old dude. And he didn't even have a name. He was just my old man. Make of that what you will, but it's a little weird. So, you know, as per standard with imaginary friends, he used to take me on adventures, and I would tell my mom these stories, and she's like, oh, that's cute, I'm humoring you. And then I would come home from daycare some days, and I'd be like, hey, Mom, my old man picked me up, and we went to the zoo. And she's like, that's a little strange, but whatever. And then one day I got in my car, or got in her car after daycare, and I said, hey, Mom, do you want to see where my old man lives? And she's like, yeah, okay. And I described this house to her, and she thought that was neat, whatever. And then I started giving driving directions. So we followed the driving directions through the streets of Spring, Texas, and at the end of the driving directions, there was the house that I had described, and it was abandoned. Meanwhile, in the mid-'80s in California, there was a thing going on called the McMartin trial. And if you don't remember what that is, it was a mass hysteria where people all over the country thought that satanic cults were running daycare centers and abusing children. So that's what's on the news every single night. But it turns out all of it is false, and it all comes out in like the early 90s that all of it was nothing. It was bad interview techniques from psychiatrists implanting memories. It was super weird. But my mom didn't know all this. She thought an old guy was picking me up from school and taking me to an abandoned house. So she just started dropping in the middle of the day. You're like, are you sure he's here all day? And I'm like, yes, ma'am. And no one is allowed to pick him up but me. Yes, ma'am. He's very quiet. He just sits in the corner and he draws dinosaurs. We really don't know where this is coming from. And months later, basically, as imaginary friends do, he just sort of dissolved. And we never, ever got an answer, a proper answer to that story, or why it happened, or why I knew where that house was. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I've always been a creepy person. And kids' imaginations are amazing, and you will never, ever be the person that you were when you were 5. Never again. This song's called Stars. Thank y'all for listening to me. Well, that was me. Lying on a blanket, staring skyward, tracing constellations with my finger, knowing every story they were named for. Well, that was me, drifting off to dream so I could wander among the planets and the gods, among the monsters, king of all the cosmos in the backyard. I look up at the dark, and all I see are stars, and it just breaks my heart. All I see are stars. But that was me, the mutineer pirate on the playground, tamer of the tigers in the treehouse. I wouldn't even recognize me now. But that was me, before I started answering the questions and boarded up the windows to the kingdom and shut it all away and called it wisdom. So when I look up at the dark, well, all I see are stars, and it just breaks my heart. All I see are stars. And I don't know, but I believe that you were just like me, and you look up at the dark, and all you see are stars. All you see are stars. All you see are stars. Well, all you see are stars. All you see are stars. And don't it break your heart? All you see are stars.